So how many of you have heard of police detection dogs? Okay, quite a few. These are the dogs that are able to find bombs and drugs and search for survivors in the rubble of earthquakes. Well, they've actually been able to even find bed bugs in the furniture of New York City's apartments. And that's a pretty powerful nose. It's a nose strong enough to find 1 to 2 parts per trillion of airborne odors. That's like taking all the noses in a sold-out Nationals Park stadium and condensing it into your nose. So if you have the right kind of dog, one that's got an obsessive play drive, you can train it to find pretty much anything, as long as you take a smell and associate it with when it receives its favorite toy. So that's why I was able to work with the Chinese police force to train a Belgian Malinois named Pinkerton to find something a little more unorthodox. Monkey poop. Ape poop, to be precise, because I'm working with this endangered species of primate called a black-crested gibbon, and they're kind of like these opera-singing trapeze artists who swing through the canopy rainforests of southwest China. And I should mention they're also 2 feet tall and covered in orange fur. But tragically, there's only about 1,500 of them left in the world, almost all of whom are living in these mountaintop forests in southwest China, where below about 6,000 feet, all the forest has been cut away for these terrace fields of grain. And we call that a sky island habitat, because the gibbons in the mountaintops way up there aren't able to come down, cross the valley, and meet up with the gibbons in the mountaintops way over there. So one of the first things that we have to do to conserve them is understand how genetically isolated these different groups are becoming from each other. But to do that, you need to get a whole bunch of DNA samples. And you can't just climb a tree with a cheek swab kit and ask nicely. You have to look for the one thing that every gibbon leaves behind in the forest, the DNA sample with the most lowly of origins, gibbon poop. But there's a catch here, because, how do you find something greenish-brown on a brownish-green forest floor? Well, this is where Pinkerton comes in, because his nose can smell what my eyes can't see. And when we're walking through the forest looking for gibbons and stumble upon something with potential, he'll lean in, take a big whiff, mull it over, and if it's the right stuff, he'll lay down, put his paws on either side of it, and wag his tail, all in exchange for 30 seconds with his tennis ball. And after a year of hiking through these forests, we've been able to find enough DNA samples to map the genetic diversity of these gibbons and have a real conservation hope for the future. Also, thanks to internet crowdfunding, I was actually able to bring him back home to the States with me. So if Pinkerton has taught me anything, it's that science doesn't only happen in a cold, sterile lab. Sometimes it's the ideas and the tools from our everyday lives that can have the greatest impact on the world around us.
That is very cool.
Thank you.
For so many reasons. We're back to the poop thing, which makes me wonder why we just flush it all away. It's so valuable.
This is the great tragedy of the modern era.
Yeah. But I'm curious, something that you said, you said they were opera singing gibbons. And I'm just curious, having an operatic singer in my family, are we talking, what, Tosca? La Boheme? What exactly?
So they sing these duets to each other every morning. It's kind of like there's a pair bonding mechanism to reaffirm that pair bond, but it's also a way of identifying their territory. They're very territorial, sort of saying, this area is mine, we are here. And these duets are something like the male will start. Let's see if I have enough moisture left in my lips. It's like, and then the female comes in like a little bit later with this more like kind of bellowing thing, like, and it kind of trails off like that.
I'm seeing them in the Viking helmets.
Yeah.
So that was great.
I always wanted a gibbon car alarm, like just.
That was awesome. I just gave you extra credit for that. That was good.
Score.
What do you think Pinkerton thinks about all this? I mean, what do you think? What does he take away from these opera singing, canopy swinging gibbons and their, colorful and smelly poop?
So I think for him, it's, he's a working dog, right? So these dogs are just obsessed with the opportunity to have something to do. They're extremely high energy. They have this obsessive play drive that I was talking about, where like, I'll give him his tennis ball or his chew bone, and like 2 hours later, he's just still going at it without a break. So for him, I think it's really just, he's incredibly smart and he needs something to focus on. So for him, it's just, like the work is really the life for him. So now that he's back home, it's a matter of like getting some scat samples from the zoo so that I can like hide them in the park and give him something to do.
That's great. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.